Howdy folks, welcome to the channel. I'm Don, this is Rockin' the Country. I am doing part 4 of Renee Mooberry's gift request of country music history in photographs. A lot of this is told through the eyes of the photographers who were in the different places as these artists were starting, or as the Opry was doing its thing and just getting going, or wherever. And then there's a lot of other commentary as well, but it is really well done. So Renee, thank you for this gift and this request. So let's get into part 4 of what's going to be at least a 6-parter. Here we go.
Isn't afraid to show that. Country artists are accessible to their fans, and that is really special. But my goodness, I hope Ronnie got rid of those pants. When you grow up with the country way of life, it teaches you so much, and your beliefs are solidified by the people around you.
A lot of us learned to sing in church. We were raised by God-fearing, good, honest, decent, hard-working people. So the gospel influence was very big.
When you hear gospel music and when it lifts you, it's the spirit behind it, I think, that makes the difference. And country music is that way.
But it's not a bright, well-defined line. If you're in despair, if you're in trouble, if your heart is broken, you turn to Jesus. In country music, if you're in despair and your heart is broken, you go have a beer.
People, when they're having a hard time, they need someone to identify with. When I sing, I'm telling the story. And when I get a hold of a song, I'm gonna get it across and make sure they can hear what I'm saying, because the most important thing is that you do connect with the audience.
People feel very connected to country music, and in some ways feel that those singers aren't that separate from who they are.
Yeah.
I was starting my photography career, and I had friends who had a record company, and they needed pictures of their musicians. So they would get me a pass to the Grand Ole Opry. The old-style singers that I was photographing weren't people with a lot of pretense, like Roy Acuff, king of country music, who kind of ruled the Grand Ole Opry for decades. As a photographer, I'm interested in country music and the people who make the music, but I'm mostly interested in the place and the people who make up the place. In the 70s, there were 7 honky-tonks in Boston. These are places I used to go quite a lot to photograph. Nashville North and the Blue Star Lounge and the Hillbilly Ranch, most famous of all. And as honky-tonk as I've seen anything. And people like Grandpa Jones, who started in Boston, would come by all the time to perform. The old-style honky-tonk was a place outside of town, near no schools or churches, with live music, a place where working people went out and had themselves a beer on Friday, Saturday night, maybe got to meet somebody, maybe got to dance, maybe got into a fight, and it was glamorous on some level. I saw this honky-tonk culture starting to disappear, and I wanted to document these people, record their lives, and make them part of history. Tootsie was a legendary character in Nashville. She ran this successful honky-tonk on Lower Broadway, Tootsie's Orchid Lounge. It was a different kind of person that went in there that would go into a country music show today. And you could go in and write your name, and stars would go in.
Yeah, you still can.
Too. Supposedly, Willie Nelson wrote Crazy there for Patsy Cline. And performers will come from all over to Tootsie's in hopes that they can somehow make a connection.
Tootsie's was famous.
I wish I was wearing Randall Fryer's hat that he sent me. That's from Tootsie's. But the Tootsie's today, I don't know. I was down there, when was it, like 10 years ago or so, and maybe a little less than that. And I have a picture of me standing on the railing. 1 foot is on the railing going down the stairs from like the 2nd floor down. But the 2nd floor is like, it might have even been the 3rd floor, but it's got to be like 30 or 40 steps down. And I have my foot on the railing and 1 foot on the wall, and I'm writing up here. I was down there with a friend. She took 2 pictures of me. There's one picture, I'm up like this, and then in the second picture, there's a woman going underneath my legs because she needed to get downstairs. I had no idea this was going on. But I was writing my name on the wall, ceiling on the wall.
to me because I'd read all about it in all the history books. So when I came to Nashville, I went into Tootsie's and got up to sing kind of impromptu. And by the end of my little mini set, they'd offered me a job. I played at Tootsie's on and off for tips for 2.5, 3 years, doing covers and a lot of traditional country, singing the people's music, singing about what people were living and breathing every day of their lives. But it was a different time and a different culture.
It was a drinking culture. It was a blue-collar culture. It was a different world. But this is where the music's from.
People had beliefs and customs that we didn't have in New York, and there were prejudices.
They were called rubes and were perceived as promiscuous, poverty-stricken, stupid, and people made fun of country music. They associated it with a hayseed hillbilly audience.
There's always been stereotypes in country music, and the media and television played off this idea of what Southerners were like.
It is true.
2 Canadian producers came to me and said, we're getting ready to do a musical variety show, not unlike Laugh In. Would you be interested? Well, I found out early in life that you say yes to everything.
When Hee Haw came out, country music had been trying to get away from the bales of hay and the cornbread image, and everybody said this will just be a disaster.
The critics screamed. They thought it was the worst piece of trash they'd ever seen. But country music fans said, at last, here's something that I can identify with.
It was visual, and you didn't have to be an intellectual to understand it. There was just one thing right after another, one cut right after another.
Bam, 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 ha, ha, music, a funny look. Then we'd pop out of the cornfield.
Benny Hill.
I was hosting with Buck Owens, and I don't think any other combination would have been the same.
We got something that says Hee Haw here.
Because Buck hadn't the radio play and sold records, and I was known on television. So the two of us brought in 2 different audiences.
Hee Haw was the hottest show in the country, and that brought a lot of people to like country music that never before even thought about country music.
There you go.
We were on CBS for 2.5 seasons, and Hee Haw was still high in the ratings, but CBS started complaining about its hillbilly image. They said, it's not the audience that our sponsors want to see. We have to get rid of it. So they took Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hee Haw, and let us all go.
Hee Haw!
Wow.
But that wasn't the end of the Hee Haw. They syndicated the show, and it actually had a bigger audience than when it was on the network because they were on more stations. And all of a sudden, country music was everywhere.
It was really exceptional. They always had 3 or 4 guests every week, and they got all the top people, Loretta Lynn, Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash.
Willie did it, Merle Haggard. In fact, a lot of the big stars today got their break and their first national exposure on Hee Haw. And we just grew. We were in production for 28 years.
Who was that? Who was that, Renee? We finally got a Dwight sighting. Yeah.
Some people felt it was insulting and set country music back. But there was part of Hee Haw that was really great for country because it was in every home, because it exposed so many artists, and because it was so popular.
Hee Haw made people laugh and made people feel better. That was the power of that show.
We never hurt anyone. We had nothing to gain except sin. We'll put on the corny stuff, and let's you and I have some fun together. And everywhere you went, people would say, I'm a pickin'. I would say, well, I'm a grinning.
In the 1970s, the look and sound of country music started changing. And when I was a kid, Ernest Tubb and the Texas Troubadours came to my hometown county fair wearing matching pink cowboy suits. It was hillbilly Hollywood, and it was beautiful. But nudie suits were out of style and kind of an embarrassment to the new image of modern country music. And I'm thinking, this is not right. Somebody needs to be taking pictures. Photography was almost parallel to music to me as a kid. I started when I was 12 years old playing bluegrass festivals, and then I played in Lester Flatt's band. His peers were Roy Acuff, Bill Monroe, String Bean, and when we would go on the road, these characters would all be together. It looked like history in motion, and nobody seemed to ever have a camera. So I just simply started to photograph the proceedings because I was there, and I fell in love with
The
photography.
proceedings.
The images from that time are very precious because in the late 70s and early 80s, the old sound, the old look of country music was kind of having to fight for its life because the urban cowboy thing had come in so strong.
Urban cowboy represented a new version of country that was younger, that was club-based and dance-based. It set up the line dance craze and showed that that Southern image, that identity could be exported anywhere.
And all of a sudden, guys in New York were buying cowboy boots and wanting to learn how to two-step. Country music was appealing to a lot of people who hadn't thought of themselves as country fans, and records were selling bigger than ever.
You had the term crossover. When a record got so hot that not just country folks wanted to hear it, other people wanted to hear it, and so country singers crossed over from the country charts, and the pop radio stations would play them. There were people like Glenn Campbell and Dottie West, later Ronnie Millsap, and it blossomed.
Smoky Mountain rain keeps on falling. I keep on calling her name.
Crossover was
So
kind
beautiful.
of a nasty word back then. I wasn't trying to make crossover records, but once I had my first million-seller single, I thought my music is in a different place. The country fans like it, but people who like all kinds of music like it too. And I always loved playing all kinds of music. It started just because I heard records on the radio. I grew up in the Smoky Mountains of North Carolina. My mother did not want to raise a blind child. It could be that she didn't really know how. So I was raised by my grandparents. I learned Braille when I was 6. I learned violin when I was 7, piano at 8. I had a musical aptitude, and any song that I could hear, I could play it. So I came out of school wanting to make these things that I was hearing on the radio called records. I started out as an R&B singer in Memphis and had a top 5 hit on the first record we put out. But Charlie Pride heard me sing, and he said, I can tell from listening to your voice, you are a country singer. You need to move to Nashville. So I signed a contract with Charlie Pride's manager, and he went right to the president of RCA, Jerry Bradley. And Jerry said, we know Ronnie Millsap. He's not a country singer. But he listened to my demos and said, you know what? That SOB can sing country. And all of a sudden, I'm on RCA Records. That's the record label of Charlie Pride, of Elvis Presley.
Wow.
I love making records, but there's something phenomenal about doing a live show. My stylist always makes sure that when I go out on stage that I look presentable with a lot of rhinestones and all kinds of pretty designs. It costs a lot of money to dress like that, but that's part of my image.
Okay.
The fans expect it and they deserve it. And the fans know exactly what you're supposed to be. I was worried about being a crossover artist, and I walk that line a lot. Every record I put out, country fans, they don't want you to stray from country, but you can't.
I said that about Leanne a lot, Renee, right? You remember that? I said it quite a bit. I said, she's an R&B girl. Like a lot of folks, they don't necessarily fit into one genre. All of them think they could do any genre for the most part, but some folks just have a voice where you just say, oh, no. This is completely, like Leanne to me can sing country, of course, just to use her as an example, but she's an R&B singer. That's her talent. That's her gift.
Be afraid to try something new because your intuition may be right.
You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em.
I took a lot of flack for taking country music pop, but I'm a country artist with a lot of other musical influences, and I've never worn a cowboy hat in my life.
Really?
I was the first artist to work large venues with lots of production. I was wearing 3-piece suits, white suits, and it wasn't an attempt to be bizarre. It was just where I was comfortable at the time. And I think I was resented for taking it away from that country base. But country music is what country people will buy. And you can't do what everybody else is doing.
When the deal is done.
Yeah.
You develop styles in this business by listening to what people say. It's like Islands in the Stream. Barry Gibb from the Bee Gees wrote that song, and I agreed to cut it. But he said, you know what we need? We need Dolly Parton.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are. No one in between. How can we be wrong?
I didn't really know her at the time, but once she walked in, that song was never the same. We both just kind of locked into each other. Your image will attract attention, but then you have to sell it with the music. And if you give me a song that touches me, I can make it touch somebody else. Country is where the heart is. And in country music, if it hurts, you say it hurts. And I saw the value to simple songs with lyrics that had something to say. I don't want to just sing words, because it's not a song, it's a story. When people hear The Gambler, they realize that's a great way to live your life. Know when to walk away and know when to run. We're all three people. I'm who I think I am, I'm who you think I am, and I'm who I really am. And throughout my whole career, I tried to stay true to who I was.
What makes us beautiful is our differences. I got started early. I was a 13-year-old kid when I recorded Delta Dawn, and my producer said, I don't want anybody to know that this girl's 13 years old, because this is a great record. We don't want a freak show. But that song was meant to be. Growing up, everybody called me the female Elvis. And I thought country music should be bigger than it was. I wanted to take it to another place. But I love to have fun. And when I moved to LA, I started drinking. You know, the party didn't start till I got there. That's when I did the TNT album. It was a bad deal all the way around. I got a bunch of bad reviews. They didn't like the music, and especially didn't like the pictures. I didn't even notice the microphone cord was between my legs. My manager put an ad in Hustler magazine, said, this album is so good, it's gonna get your ears hard. But if I didn't know, I don't think I'd approve of that. I became known as the bad girl of country music. A lot of people said, he's outside the box. And I said, shit, I've been trying to get in the box for a while. Where is the box? But I am country. And people have said, your music helped me through some of the worst times. A voice is the gift. And I just sing in a song best I know how.
People feel very close to country music, and they feel that they could be that person on stage. But you go to a rock and roll show, there's no way you're going to be that person.
I think a lot of rock guys want to play the guitar to meet girls and go on the road. But it seems like country musicians are a little more serious. I'm comfortable shooting musicians because I'm a musician in my heart and a photographer in my head. I first picked up a camera in '66 on the road with my folk singing group, the Modern Folk Quartet. We stopped at a little store in East Lansing, Michigan, and bought these secondhand cameras and started taking pictures of each other and whatever we saw. When I got back to LA, I had a slideshow, and it was amazing to see these images huge on the wall. That got me hooked. So I started photographing my friends, who were virtually all musicians. Stephen Stills, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell playing a mountain dulcimer.
I'm going to leave it right there, folks, for this episode. I got 2 more episodes coming up, and gosh, is that enlightening, like to see these names. But we did get the most important shot in there, Renee. About a 1 or 2 second shot of Dwight Yoakam. So that was awesome. Just so glad for you. Maybe we'll get another one. Maybe he'll even have a speaking part in this thing. Who knows? But these images and these pictures and the way the photographers viewed it and view it and all that is enlightening, because that's that's another art. You know, photography is another art, but it merged And then to hear Tanya's story where, I mean, that ad in Hustler, good God, so good it'll get your ears hard. You're like, holy crap. And she's like, I never would have approved that. I didn't know he did that. I've been trying to get in the box. They're trying to take me out of it. Anyway, you can thank Renee Mooberry, who happens to live in Las Vegas, but she's a Louisiana girl. You can thank her for all this. That goes in the documentary playlist. Have a great day. See you on the next episode for sure, and keep rocking the country.
I didn't really know her at the time, but once she walked in, that song was never the same.